and that we said that is related to the denudation of the land surface. And this denudation of the land surface, that basically in the form of mechanical as well as chemical process, these two process either in the form of mechanical transport or in the form of the suspension load or the solute which is in dissolution within the water column, or in all the form the material that is transported into a basin, which here it may be a lacustrine basin, it can be a marine basin, it can be a playa basin. So it can be any kind of basin. It gets the sediment in form of either the mechanical or the chemical. In both the forms, that is being supplied in the basin. So today, our aim will be to little quantify the things. That will be the little quantify the things. That how really we can have a quantification of the this chemical as well as the mechanical. First, we start with the chemical. So the chemical denudation. Now, when we talk about the chemical denudation, what really we actually think about it, chemical denudation? It is actually in the soil profile, the interaction between water and the minerals in the rocks. That basically is allowing you to make a soil profile. In that soil profile, the water which is percolating from the surface runoff or from precipitation, the decay of the plant material, all these that basically release the cations and anions in the surface water. So the organic matter, the plant matter, and as well as the reaction between the mineral present in the rocks, that with the surface runoff or with the groundwater. So what I am talking about, that number one is the decay of plant material. Number two, decay of organic matter. Number three, interaction between water and mineral matter in rock. Okay. Now, this interaction, this water, it may be either as a surface runoff or it may be in the form of groundwater. Both these forms, the water come in the contact. And they basically, so what is the net result of all this process? Whatever this process does, what is the net result of this process? The net result of this process is the release of material either as TSS or as TDS. What is TSS? Total suspended solid. What is TDS? Total dissolved solid. So, I am not going into the mechanical denudation. I am going into the DCH, that is the chemical denudation. We are now discussing about the chemical denudation. Okay. Now, in this chemical denudation, what we are discussing, that the decay of plant material, decay of organic matter, interaction between water and the mineral matter, and the rock, which is the surface runoff water or the groundwater, they basically responsible for the release of total suspended fuel solid and total dissolved solid in the water system, which is basically carried into the basin, any form of lacustrine, marine, any basin. Okay. Now, this is the general pattern of it. Now, when the water that comes into the contact of mineral, then what will happen? That the water and mineral that will establish a equilibrium system. And if it attains a equilibrium system, then what will happen? That the mineral will go into the dissolution into the water, because water is unsaturated with respect to the mineral at the temperature condition. But what is actually required? So what you try to establish a equilibrium condition between mineral and water. Between mineral and water, a equilibrium condition. Now, the situation is that this equilibrium for different mineral, as I have discussed in the last class, that the solubility of different things, they are of different order. Your rock salt, your gypsum, your silicates, they have the different orders of solubility. And some, they are soluble in the form of the millimeter per annum, some are meter per annum. So you have the different kind of solubility of the mineral. So what happens really, those which are higher soluble, they achieve the equilibrium with the water very quickly. Which are less soluble, they require for high retention of water for a longer period of time to achieve the equilibrium. So what I am saying, that the high solubility, what is high solubility? Suppose rock salt, gypsum, carbonate, all these are high solubility. So they, even for a smaller time of residence of water, they may attain their equilibrium. But if I have a granite, I have a basalt, I have a metamorphic rock, their interaction with water is very, very low, very slow. So you require a very high level of residency of water to achieve the equilibrium with that sort of minerals. You got my point, what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
And that basically controls that what kind of cation and the anion you will be getting in the water column. So many of the water, the elements, we get in the water column, they are more controlled by those minerals which are more soluble than those minerals which are less soluble. Now, this tendency allowed us to believe that for any best possible chemical denudation of formation, you require a optimum thickness of soil formation. What happens if you do not get the optimum thickness of the soil formation, if you have a lesser thickness of the soil formation, then the amount of water that will be drained out, the water will not reside into the soil column for a longer period of time to attain the more equilibrium dissolution of the minerals so that they can be released in the water. Am I clear? So this optimum, if you have a lesser thickness, the water residency will be less. If you have a higher thickness, then also there is a problem. If you have a very high thickness of the soil, then what happens? That your soil will try to become impermeable, because with a longer time of the soil formation and thicker soil formation, most of the minerals, they have been changed to the neo mineral of the clay. So they are changed to the neomineral clay, and if you have the more of the clay, then it becomes more impermeable. So the water, even if you put the water there, because of the generation of the more clay already developed there, so it become impermeable and the water do not percolate much into the lower part of the soil profile. So water remains in the top part and gets evaporated. So what I said, that if I have a lesser thickness of soil, then what happens? The water gets drained out. Water gets drained out and do not get available. If higher thickness, then what happens? If you have a higher thickness, then you generate the neomorphic minerals which are clay. Their clay makes the soil profile impermeable. So the water remains in the shallow part and get evaporated. So you require an optimum thickness of the soil formation, optimum thickness of soil formation. For now, what will be that optimum thickness? That will depend upon the lithology, the elevation, and climate. What will be the optimum thickness for a particular area? That will be depending on the lithology, climate, and relief. All three, they basically control what should be the optimum thickness at a particular area that will cause the based of the chemical denudation in the system. That is because the based of chemical denudation that will actually allow the maximum amount of the dissolved solution in the system. Okay. Now, I will give this, whatever I have said, I will be giving you an example with the example of the Ganges basin. What is happening in the Ganges basin? This is the example from Ganges Basin. see? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Visible because net gone in between.
Yes, sir. Today you do not have a good network, I think. Screen is also not very clear.
Screen is not clear.
Yes, sir.
वो नेट का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. Should I read it out?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That would work.
Okay. So drawing तो दिखाई दे रहा है ना. Drawing is seen ना.
Yes, sir.
तो drawing कर लो, then I'll read it out. ड्राइंग करके फिर मेरे को बताओ, आई विल रीड इट आउट. Have you drawn it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am now reading it out. This is precipitation. Precipitation. This is surface runoff. Here it is P. P for precipitation. R for surface runoff. This is ET, means evapotranspiration. ET is evapotranspiration. Here it is 2030. 2030. This is 373. 373. This is evapotranspiration. Ganges basin. You can see there is a graph which is annual runoff. Annual runoff. Now this side there is a block. This side represents TSS, total suspended solid, and this side is TDS, total dissolved solid. This is intermediate deposition. Intermediate deposition. Intermediate deposition. This is mid drainage basin elevation. Mid drainage basin elevation. Now here it is written total drainage area. Total drainage area 980,000 square kilometer. 980,000 square kilometer. Now this is a block. Here it is written 680. 680. Then this is solute. SOLUT, solute. Total within bracket 75. Total within bracket 75. Denudation. Denudation 42 within bracket 42. Then this block it is 694. 694. Solute 41. Solute 41. This is 257. 257 DMC. DMC. DMC 257. And this is DCH. DCH. This is 16. 16.
So ग्राफ का XY एक्सिस में क्या लिखा है?
M cube per annum, meter cube per annum, and time. हो गया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is basically shown in this figure? In this figure, it is shown that total Ganges basin area, total drainage area of the Ganges basin about 980,000 kilometers square. That is the total drainage area. Now that in terms of precipitation, what is the total amount of water by means of precipitation the drainage area is receives? Total Ganges basin, if you see the total Ganges basin, what is the total amount of precipitation amount that it gets? About 2030 mm. That is the total 2030. That is the total precipitation amount that the Ganges basin that it receives. Out of that, this much amount that goes back by evapotranspiration. The amount which is left, which is not gone by evapotranspiration, that is 373 mm. That amount is available for me as a surface runoff. As the surface runoff. So what is the amount that is net I am getting for the surface runoff? That is the precipitation minus evapotranspiration. That amount is available for me for the surface runoff. Okay, and that surface runoff is basically what it does. It is responsible for both mechanical and chemical, that denudation of the land. So this denudation of the land that is basically happening because of this surface runoff, which is the balance between the precipitation and evapotranspiration, and that is responsible for both mechanical and chemical. Now, when the sediment that is being transported, what will happen? You might have developed a reservoir. There may be the levee or the floodplain or those areas, some of the sediment that may get trapped also. So in the process, some sediment, they may get trapped, and not all the sediment that is released by means of surface runoff and the mechanical and chemical denudation all do not reach to the main basin, that is the marine basin or the lacustrine basin. Because some of the sediment that may be stay back within the drainage basin itself, which may be deposited and not reach up to this. So what is the total budget that basically is released in terms of chemical and mechanical? That total budget may not release to the main basin because of the some inheritance within the drainage basin itself. Now, this is actually the entire. So you may have some mid drainage elevation as well, and then these blocks. What these blocks are telling? These blocks are telling that what is happening about your mechanical and chemical. Now, this 680, this number is the mechanical number, and the solute, when you get that the total solute, that is the TDS plus TSS, these two together, if we see, that is about 75. Out of that TCH, that is about 42. That you are basically you are expecting to have. Now, what really, in case of some tributaries, these tributaries may add this kind of the mechanical and the solute. But finally, when you are reaching to the basin, you are getting that the mechanical is 257 and the solute is 16. That means this entire, this original, the river system and its tributaries, which are of different figures, that may not reach to the main basin with the same figure, and that same figure may be different. So this diagram shows you that what is the control of the net denudation, and then on reaching to the main basin, what is the difference between what is being originally released and what is finally reaching to the basin. Am I clear? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is there any question here? Whatever I am discussing, is there any question here? Because this is an important diagram, and this is a basically philosophical diagram to understand that how the sediments, they are basically shaped from the land, and by the process of the chemical and the mechanical, and then how it gets released. Do you consider that the entire sediment which is being released, that will be reaching to the basin? No. The entire sediment which is released by means of the trunk river and the tributary river, that may not reach to the basin. Okay, fine. So if we see, then one thing we should, then how we should calculate the total load, total chemical load. So when we talk about the total chemical denudation, we are now discussing the chemical denudation, as I said in the past, chemical denudation. If it is, because chemical denudation, as I said, it comes to TDS and TSS. It combined two. Then how really in a river system, the total load, how we calculate the total load? So total load, that may be tons per annum in a river system. How we get that? We will be multiplying the TDS into annual runoff. Okay, so TDS in mg per liter, if you multiply it by the meter cube per kilometer square per annum. That is the annual runoff. Annual runoff, that is the meter cube per kilometer square per annum. That means the annual runoff per unit area per annum. Then if you multiply it, then you will get the total load in tons per annum. Total load in tons per annum. What I am saying, that if I have TDS and then I will be multiplying it by the annual runoff, that what I am doing here now, I am actually trying to see the total suspended sediment, total TDS means the total dissolved solute into annual runoff, the total amount, what is being released into the river system. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now this is also done per unit area by specific runoff. What is specific runoff? What is specific runoff? Specific runoff is the same, the annual runoff, whatever we were getting in terms of annum, that the meter cube per kilometer square. That is what is the unit area. Unit area runoff, that is actually not going for the annual. When you do it for the unit area only, for a particular time plane, then you get it the specific runoff. Specific runoff. If you multiply TDS into specific runoff, then what you get? You get the specific yield. Yield. SY. That is the specific yield. That means TDS into the per unit runoff. That if I multiply, then I will get the specific yield of that system. So the total load and the specific yield. In total load, you are actually multiplying the TDS by the annual runoff. Then from annual runoff, you have come to the specific runoff. From specific runoff, if you multiply with TDS, you get the specific yield. Okay. Now, if you see the river systems, then I am telling you there are two. I am giving you two examples. That what is the average value? What is the average value of TSS in the river systems and TDS in the river system? TSS and the TDS in the river system. If you see the TDS, the total solute is these two combinedly, that forms the total solute. Okay, the value of total solute in the rivers, it can vary from 30 to 300 mg per liter. This is the value of the total solute. You got my point? Total solute I am talking about. the TSS and TDS. And that value, it may be mostly vary between 30 to 300 mg per liter in the river system. It can go in some of the rivers, in the Siberian rivers, it is 5 to 8 mg per liter. It is as low as this. And some tributaries, in some tributaries which are draining the rock salt or the gypsum, it can go up to 20,000 mg per liter. So it can be as low as 5 to 8 mg per liter in some of the rivers in the Siberia, as it is noticed, and in some tributaries which are draining the rock salt and the gypsum, the value of the total solubility may go up to 20,000 mg per liter. But in general, it varies between the 30 to 300. In general, you get it vary between 30 to 300. In terms of this total solute, we actually classify the river systems into the low solute, medium solute, and the high solute. The three types of the solute systems of the river. So what we get? The low solute. Low solute. These are where you have the 30 to 100 mg per liter. Then we'll call it a low solute. Okay? These are some of the rivers which are draining the wet, tropical, well-developed, neomorphic clay-bearing soil variety. So, rivers draining well-developed, neomorphic clay-bearing soil. They, because of the neomorphic clay bearing, so it becomes, as I said, it becomes impermeable, and they do not release much of the solute in the system. Then I have a medium, which is 100 to 300 mg per liter. The rivers of the Alps, Himalayas, they basically show this kind of value, 100 to 300 mg per liter. And then you can have rivers which are high solute value, more than 300 mg per liter, which are some large river systems such as Yellow River. The large river systems, they basically have, and which where the tributaries, some of their tributaries that drain the rock salt or gypsum or carbonate, they give you this kind of a value. So these are the different solute values. Now coming on to within the solute, if I come on to TDS values, dissolved solute values, total dissolved solute. The average content of the TDS in rivers, TDS, out of these values, suppose 300 or 100, the average TDS is 115 mg per liter. Within 300, 115 mg per liter, that is the average TDS value. Rest is TSS. Now, if you see that within the TDS, what is the most common anion or cation? what is the most common type? What is the most common type? About 70% of this TDS we get in the form of HCO3 minus, hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate. Hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate, it constitutes about 58 mg per liter. Besides this, you get calcium, SiO2 and SO4 minus. Calcium 14 mg per liter, SiO2 11 mg per liter and SO4 10 mg per liter.
So calcium content कितना है?
14 mg per liter. SiO2 11 and sulfate that is 10. So it is, the number is not very important. You try to understand the TDS में main constituent क्या है? Hydrogen carbonate, HCO3, sulfate, calcium, SiO2, all these they make the total dissolved solid into the water. Okay. And if you consider in terms of the specific yield, in terms of the specific yield of the river system, specific yield. Specific yield of the river system, that basically in a river system it varies between 5 to 80 meter cube kilometer square. That is the specific yield, which can be about 34 millimeter per annum. If you consider it as a specific yield. Okay, so now you have got some idea that how really the total contribution by the chemical denudation. I am not stretching it further because there is no end of this discussion. I can make it more discussion about it. There are a lot of intricacies in it. But you should have a general idea that what is actually the chemical denudation. Now we will come on to the mechanical denudation. Now we will come on to mechanical denudation. Now, when you talk about the mechanical denudation, then people have tried to empirically measure the different river system and to generate a relationship. What are the factors that guide the mechanical denudation? Now, when you talk about the mechanical denudation and then the factors, what basically is controlling the mechanical denudation, that people think the two factors that is the most important. One is elevation and another is climate. So this elevation and climate, they are the two major factors that they consider. The one, elevation of terrain, and number two is climate. These two they consider the major factors which basically control the mechanical denudation. That is DMC, the mechanical. Till now we were discussing TCH, chemical denudation. Now mechanical denudation. They say these are the two factors. They basically didn't consider the lithology as a major factor. Lithology as a major factor. Of course, lithology also plays a very major factor. I am not going to, whatever they consider, I am discussing it. And then there is a role of lithology as well. Softer lithology will definitely yield the more sediment than a more compact and the hard lithology. There is no doubt about it. But as of now, what the two aspects that we will be considering, that is the elevation. So what is the relation they try to establish between the mechanical denudation and the elevation? If the elevation, if the average elevation of a terrain is HM, then they say that the mechanical denudation, this will be 419 into 10 to the power minus 3 HM minus 0.245. This is a relation HM, where HM is average elevation. So if you have a elevation this, then they say that the elevation के साथ जो mechanical denudation इसका relation होगा DMC is equal to 419 into 10 to the power minus 3 HM minus 0.245. This is what they say. Okay, this is an empirical relation. I am harping on it. This is an empirical relation which has been established by measuring the average elevation of terrain and the amount of the mechanical denudation, the measuring the mechanical denudation product of the rivers and the elevation versus the weight of the mechanical denudation that has been plotted, and they get this kind of a relationship between the two parameters. This is a totally empirical by means of measurement and plotting of them. And this relation, as you see, this is actually, what is this? This is equal to almost y equal to mx plus c, where c equal to minus 0.245 and m equal to 419 into 10 to the power minus 3. Am I clear? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
But it is exactly not a straight line. It is very marginally deviated from the straight line, and then because if you plot this because this is not a normal digit that is a very straight line that you get a gradient like this. This is actually a exponential which is very marginally deviated from the straight line. Marginally deviated from the straight line. Overall, the relationship nearly assumes the relationship of a straight line. Now, since it is slightly deviated from straight line, though the equation almost looks like a straight line, so they say that it can be related to DMC. It is equal to KD HM. But KD, this is actually a constant, and depending on the different relation, that it can have 0.07 to 0.18. This can be the value of KD. 0.07 to 0.18. So average relation, what they establish is that DMC equal to 0.1535 HM. This is an average relationship that they have, because it can, the value of KD can be 0.07 to 0.8. So average value what they have achieved, this becomes the relation. Okay. So now, what is HM? You are talking about an average elevation. So in a terrain, I can have an elevation of 1000 meters somewhere, which is a hill or hillocks, or I can have an elevation of 100 meters somewhere. Fine. So there is a hillock and there is a plain land. Now, if you make it average, you take some of these, which is really not the justice for the terrain. That there is no such elevation which is a average elevation. I can have a hill, I can have a plain land, but you are talking about average elevation. So in that case, that the whole exercise it may lose somewhere. Am I clear what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
So then people say that if I have a terrain, divide it in terms of grid. Get the average elevation of individual grid R1, R2, R3, and then measuring the individual grid elevation, average elevation, then you average out by R1 plus R2 plus R3 like this divided by M. If you do that exercise, then the relationship comes DMC is equal to 0.1535 in the HM. Then if you try to get the specific yield of the mechanical denudation, SY, this becomes 0.02 Q into SP into VP. This is specific yield of mechanical denudation. I did it for specific yield for chemical denudation as well. Okay. So mechanical, what is Q? Q is the annual runoff. Meter cube per annum. Annual runoff. What is SP? SP is slope of terrain. Measured in radian. What is VP? VP is average precipitation. Which is determined by P seasonal square by P annual. P seasonal square by P annual. So then, if you multiply 0.02 into Q into SP into VP, then you get the specific yield of mechanical denudation. Okay. Is it clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, normally, what will be the ratio between DMC by DCH in a river? DMC by DCH in a river. In a high gradient river, suppose the river in the Alps, river in the Himalaya, they should have a very high. That means I can have this ratio more than 10. In case of large river like Ganges, this Ganges, Brahmaputra, this ratio varies between 20 to 40. If you have a wet temperate 0.4 to 8, the chemical proportion increases. In case of a tropical river with a well-developed solid profile, this ratio may be 8 to 10, because that is not much, because I said that it has already developed the neomorphic clay and not supplying the solute much. So the mechanical is to chemical, that ratio increases. But if you have a temperate and the tropical, it may not have developed the proper soil profile, and it has neomorphic clay, so it is still supplying the solute, and that thereby decreasing the ratio between the DMC by DCH. So it is not a very easy thing that what will be the DMC and DSH ratio. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the when you have the lowest of the DMC by DCH, when you have an optimum soil profile, that is to be. When you have a terrain which has a mixed relief, which has a mixed lithology, and that it has an optimum soil, there you should not, and optimum soil, you should have the lowest ratio. So a terrain with a mixed relief, mixed lithology, and optimum soil profile. In a wet tropical climate, that will have the lowest DMC by DCH. Whereas a river in a high gradient terrain such as Alps, Himalaya, where the soil profile is very ill developed, I will have the DMC by DCH that will be more than 10. It can go up to 40. Am I clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So this is actually that I tried to say that what is the mechanical denudation, what is chemical denudation, how they balance each other, climate, relief, lithology. See, if there is a storm and there is a strong surface runoff, if I take water from that runoff and I analyze, is that runoff water in equilibrium with the composition of the rock surface on which it has flown? No, because it has not got, it has a high velocity and not got the proper time to equilibrate with that. But in the same terrain, if I take the groundwater will be more likely to have that cation anion concentration as that of the rock. Because the groundwater, because of its long residence time with contact with the water, it has got the time to re-equilibrate. So you have to be very, very careful when you are doing some work and trying to identify what is the rate of denudation, what is the amount of sediment you are delivering, and all these, they are related to the climate, related to our, because the weathering reaction, that is a carbon, as you know, that it is a carbon dioxide absorption or the greenhouse gas absorption reaction. All weathering reaction is a greenhouse gas, because there is a when we talk about the HCO3, what is the major anion that we have talked about? The hydrogen carbonate, HCO3. What is hydrogen carbonate? It is nothing but the interaction between the atmosphere and hydrosphere, that is carbon dioxide and the water, H2 and CO2. So this relationship, that entire denudation, the release of the materials, that is also a factor for the decrease in the greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. All these are connected, and you should have a holistic view that what really is the meaning of denudation and how it will be related to the entire budgeting of the sediment, either in the form of mechanical or chemical, TSS, TDS, all together, how is the budget. So here we will be ending today with this discussion. I have only one or two topics left now. One topic I will try to, because of the denudation, what is the isostatic? Because whenever you do a major denudation, there will be an isostatic rebound of the land. That I will try to touch in, and then one more class I will take on the different basin analysis technique that they, one class for half an hour, I will be discussing the different techniques, that is the isopac map, isolith map, and all these techniques that people do. Okay. Okay. Is there anything left in the course? Hello. Have you seen the course?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that is left? Any other topic?
No, sir. I think I almost done, sir.
Okay. So
There was one more topic, I guess. Different basins of India. Review of Indian basins.
different basins of India in the stratigraphy you have already read. And basins analysis, this is a nonsense actually, different basins of India. Because in India, no basin that has been actually dealt with is a proper basin analysis technique. If you ask me that we discuss different basins of India, I will talk the stratigraphy of the different basins and end the course. So is it necessary to talk about the stratigraphy of the basins? These things, what I am discussing, that this kind of work in India is very, very. One basin I just discussed today about the Ganges basin. What is the control of the solute in that basin? But I will be discussing the two more classes, and I will end the course. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.